Kenyans were looking forward to President Uhuru Kenyatta on Saturday to either ease the lockdown and the dusk to dawn curfew imposed in the country to stem the spread of novel coronavirus after the president earlier had indicated that Kenyans would not be in lockdown forever. But to the shock of many, the head of state who addressed the nation few minutes past 3 extended the lockdown of Nairobi, Mombasa and Mandera, as well as the nationwide curfew by 30 more days.
To the increase in patterns of infections, the cessation of movement into and out of the Nairobi metropolitan area, Mombasa and Mandera be further extended by 30 days. That the nationwide dusk to dawn curfew, currently in force until today, the 6th of June 2020, is extended for a further 30 days.
The president, however, said that the current curfew hours, which were between 7 p.m. to 5 a.m., will now be relaxed from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m., beginning 4 a.m. Sunday morning. According to the head of state, if the country relaxes the interventions by 20%, it would have 200,000 infections and 30,000 new deaths by December 2020.
Therefore, effective 7th June 2020, the nationwide dusk to dawn curfew will run from 9 p.m. in the evening to 4 o'clock or 4 a.m. in the morning. This variation should enable Kenyans to have a full workday schedule.
However, President Uhuru Kenyatta announced the lifting of the cessation of movement of Kwale and Kilifi counties and the cessation of movement order in and out of Eastleigh and Old Town from 4 a.m. Sunday morning.
Cessation of movement into and out of Eastleigh area of Nairobi and the specific limitations in force with respect to the Old Town area of Mombasa that is currently in force shall lapse at 4 a.m. on the 7th of June 2020.
Many Kenyans had high expectation that the president would ease the lockdown, with many using social media to shower President Uhuru Kenyatta with love message and pleaded with him to lift all the restrictions.
Cessation of movement into and out of Eastleigh area of Nairobi and the specific limitations in force with respect to the Old Town area of Mombasa that is currently in force shall lapse at 4 a.m. on the 7th of June 2020.
Recent statements by senior government officials are tending to dampen the expectations of a majority of Kenyans, with some resigning to the possibility of the perpetuation of the status quo or a new order with just light changes.
We are aware that people have not really been staying at home. Let's start from there. We are not blind to what has been going on, and the reason why we have continued to open up in some of the areas like the restaurants and so on is realization that some of these areas can be opened. And nobody has spoken about reopening. Let's just take this in our pace. Nobody has spoken about reopening.
Despite the COVID-19 surge across the world, many countries on the continent have eased their lockdown restrictions. South Africa, Nigeria, Egypt and Ghana are some of the countries in Africa that have loosened the restrictions, feeling further lockdown will cripple the economy. Kate Silale, Switch TV.